The city of London lay under a heavy winter sky, a sky the color of old iron, swollen with unfallen snow. The streets were crowded with people rushing home, lantern light trembling on the frosted air, and bells ringing faintly from faraway churches. It was Christmas Eve, the one night when even the cold seems softened by the warmth of human joy. But inside a narrow, shadow-filled office on a crooked street, one man remained untouched by the season's cheer. Ebenezer Scrooge sat hunched at his tall desk, the dim candlelight sharpening the angles of his thin face. His lips were pressed together in a habitual scowl, and his eyes, cold, sharp, and impatient, glittered like two chips of ice inside a hollow skull. The room was bitterly cold, for Scrooge saw no reason to waste money on coal. Across the room, almost buried in scarves and fingerless gloves, his clerk, Bob Cratchit, bent over ledgers, his breath turning to mist each time he exhaled. The door burst open with a cheerful gust of wind. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle!" Scrooge's nephew, Fred, stood smiling, his cheeks bright with cold, his coat dusted with snowflakes. Scrooge glared through his spectacles. "Merry Christmas? Bah! Humbug!" Fred only laughed gently. "Christmas is a kind, charitable, forgiving time, Uncle. It's the one season of the year when people open their hearts." "Then keep Christmas in your way," Scrooge snapped, "and let me keep it in mine." "You don't keep it at all," Fred said softly. "Then let me leave it alone," Scrooge growled. "Good afternoon." And though Fred tried to stay cheerful, he left the office with sadness in his eyes. Moments later, two well-dressed gentlemen entered, carrying ledgers and warm smiles. They spoke of charity, of helping the poor, the starving, the homeless, those who suffered most during the unforgiving winter. "May we put you down for a contribution, Mr. Scrooge?" Scrooge set his jaw in a hard line. "Are there no prisons? No workhouses?" "Plenty," the gentleman replied sadly. "But some would rather die than go there." "Then they had better do it," Scrooge muttered, "and decrease the surplus population." The gentleman departed in dismay. At last the hour of closing came. Bob Cratchit stood hesitantly. "Sir, tomorrow is Christmas, a full day's holiday, if it please you." "It does not please me," Scrooge barked, "and it's not fair that I must pay a day's wages for no work in return. But take it, and be here earlier the next morning." Bob thanked him with heartfelt relief and hurried out into the cold, dreaming of family and warm supper. Scrooge locked up, the metal bolt echoing like a final note of misery. He stepped into the street, moving quickly through the wind, ignoring the carolers, ignoring the glowing windows, ignoring the joy that seemed to mock him with every flicker of candlelight. His home was a dark, old building, its hallways long and silent, its rooms echoing with forgotten air. As he approached the door, something made him pause. The brass knocker, cold, worn with age, shifted in shape as he looked at it. It grew features, a nose, a mouth, 2 ghost-pale eyes. Jacob Marley's face stared back at him, his old business partner, dead these 7 years. Scrooge blinked violently, and the face vanished. He shook himself. Humbug, imagination, nothing more. Yet he hurried inside, bolted the door, and climbed the stairs with a candle that flickered nervously in his trembling hand. Inside his sitting room, he checked every corner, every shadow. All was as it always had been, cold, empty, silent. He sat beside his faint fire, grumbling, when suddenly, clank! Far away, metal dragging across the floor. Scrooge's breath caught. Clank! 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 The sound came closer, each footstep rattling chains that echoed like thunder through the deserted house. The door burst open, and in came the ghost of Jacob Marley, transparent, pale, wrapped in heavy chains made of cash boxes, keys, padlocks, ledgers, steel purses, the instruments of a lifetime of greed. Scrooge stared, speechless. Ebenezer Scrooge. Marley's voice trembled with a sorrow beyond the grave. You do not believe in me. I don't, Scrooge whispered. Marley let out a cry so chilling, so hollow, that the blood in Scrooge's veins froze solid. Doomed, Marley moaned, doomed to wander the earth, dragging the chains I forged in life, each link earned by selfishness, coldness, and the blindness of a hardened heart. Scrooge trembled. Jacob, speak comfort to me. I have none to give. Marley's eyes glowed with a bleak, eternal sadness. But you, Ebenezer, you still have a chance, a single chance to escape my fate. How? Scrooge cried. Tonight, Marley whispered, you will be visited by 3 spirits. Scrooge shook his head violently. I'd rather not.
Without their visit, Marley interrupted, you cannot hope to avoid the chain I see growing around your own soul. He began drifting backward toward the window, his chains rattling louder, the air thickening with cold. Expect the first when the bell tolls 1. And with a final cry of torment, Marley passed through the window into the dark, where countless other spirits wailed, ghosts bound in sorrow, unable to help the living, forever dragging the chains they forged in life. The window slammed shut. The room plunged into silence. Scrooge collapsed in his chair, shaking, exhausted, and before he knew it, he sank into a troubled sleep. The old house was silent again, its walls heavy with sleep, its air thick with the cold breath of night. Ebenezer Scrooge, still trembling from Marley's warning, lay uneasily beneath his blankets, listening to the darkness. The clock stood in the corner, tall, ancient, its pendulum swinging like a heartbeat. Scrooge watched it with half-open eyes, counting the seconds as though each one carried him closer to a fate he was not sure he wished to meet. The hands crawled toward one. He held his breath. Bong! A deep, echoing toll that vibrated through the room. Another, and another. Then suddenly, light, soft at first, gentle as dawn through frosted windows. The room brightened slowly until the shadows melted away, as though a warm breeze had blown through the darkness. Scrooge sat upright. There, at the foot of his bed, stood a strange figure, a child, yet also an old man, its face both innocent and ancient, its hair white, its skin smooth, its eyes bright as stars reflected on still water. A pure flame glowed from the crown of its head, and it carried a long winter green branch like a symbol of peace. Scrooge swallowed. "Are you the spirit Marley said would come?" "I am," the figure said, its voice soft and echoing, as if dozens of voices spoke gently in harmony. "Who and what are you?" Scrooge whispered. "I am the ghost of Christmas past." Scrooge stared. "Long past?" "No." The spirit stepped forward, its glow warming the cold air. "Your past." Before Scrooge could move, the spirit reached out and touched his heart with one cool, glowing hand. The room dissolved. Scrooge blinked. He was standing in the middle of an open field. The air was fresh, smelling of damp earth and pine trees. Snow glittered softly on the ground. "Good heavens!" Scrooge gasped. "I know this place." There it was, the winding country road he had walked as a boy, lined with hedges dusted with snow. Far away he could hear the laughter of children racing home for Christmas. The spirit smiled. "These are the shadows of things that once were. They cannot see us." Scrooge watched the joyful children pass, boys and girls with rosy cheeks and bright eyes, singing and shouting as they dragged sleds behind them. He felt something stir in his chest, a warmth he had forgotten. Memories. The spirit pointed to a small, lonely boy, walking slowly behind the others. A thin child, with a school bag too large for his frail shoulders. Scrooge's breath caught. "Why, that is me." The boy walked alone, looking toward the other children with longing, but he did not join them. he simply continued down the snowy road toward a large, quiet schoolhouse in the distance. Scrooge whispered, almost to himself, "Poor boy, he was left there alone at Christmas." The spirit glanced at him, a lonely child, neglected by friends, left to his books and empty rooms. Scrooge nodded, his throat tightening. "I know it. I lived it." The scene shifted. Now Scrooge stood outside a bustling warehouse, brightly lit, filled with laughter and music. Inside, a great Christmas party was underway. Men and women danced, twirling beneath garlands of evergreen as fiddles played lively tunes. At the center of it all stood Mr. Fezziwig, round, rosy, and joyful, his smile wide as the season itself. Scrooge watched his younger self, a grown apprentice now, laughing, dancing, full of life and hope. The older Scrooge whispered, "Bless his heart. Fezziwig made those hours feel like heaven." "What do you think his generosity cost him?" the spirit asked gently. "Very little," Scrooge admitted. "But he had the power to make us happy or unhappy. His happiness was worth more than money." A soft sadness crossed his face. He had never been such a master to anyone. The spirit stepped closer. "There is still one more shadow." The room dimmed. A colder light fell. Young Scrooge sat beside a woman with kind eyes and a sorrowful smile. Her hands trembled slightly as she let a gold ring fall to the ground. It echoed faintly as it struck the floor. "It is over," she said softly. "You fear the world too much. You have replaced me with a golden idol." "You were not like this," she whispered, "before ambition consumed your heart." The young Scrooge said nothing. His eyes were fixed on the floor, his jaw clenched, his heart emptying itself of warmth. The older Scrooge reached out, as if to touch her, but his hand passed through the memory. "No more, spirit," he begged. "Show me no more." The scene changed. Now the woman, older, with gentle wrinkles, sat by a warm fire, surrounded by her joyous children. Her husband entered, laughing as he shook snow from his coat. "There was a man I passed today," he said thoughtfully. "A lonely old fellow. I believe it was your old friend, Scrooge." She looked into the fire, a quiet sadness crossing her face. "How I pity him." Scrooge's cries broke the silence. "Spirit, take me home, leave me." The spirit's glow dimmed, and the room dissolved. Scrooge opened his eyes slowly, blinking against a warm glow that filled his bedroom. The darkness of night had softened, replaced by a golden radiance that seemed to breathe with gentle life. He sat up and froze. His room was transformed. Garlands of living green, fresh, fragrant, and heavy with berries, hung across the ceiling. Holly leaves gleamed bright as emeralds. Candles burned everywhere, their flames tall and steady, casting a warm, rolling light that washed over everything. And in the center of it all, seated upon a great throne made of evergreens and roasted meats and bowls of fruit piled high, sat a magnificent figure. He was giant, clothed in a deep green robe trimmed with white fur. His bare feet rested upon the floor like the roots of an ancient tree. A glowing torch, shaped like a horn of plenty, rested lightly in his hand. His face was open, joyful, glowing with kindness. A booming laugh rumbled through the room, as bright and warm as a fireplace on a cold winter night. "Come in!" the spirit cried. "Come in and know me better, man." Scrooge stepped forward cautiously. "You are," he swallowed, "you are the second spirit?" "I am indeed," the giant replied. "I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me." Scrooge obeyed, feeling humbled in the presence of such overflowing generosity. "Spirit, conduct me where you will," he whispered. The spirit leaned down slightly, his smile kind and broad. "Touch my robe." Scrooge reached out, and darkness swept around him like a turning tide. When Scrooge opened his eyes again, he was standing in the middle of bustling London streets on Christmas morning. Snow drifted gently from the sky. Church bells rang joyfully in the distance. People hurried through the cold, their arms overflowing with food, toys, and gifts. Children shouted with laughter, sliding across icy patches, their cheeks red and shining. Everywhere Scrooge looked, there was warmth. Not the warmth of fireplaces, but of human hearts. Families greeted one another in doorways. Strangers exchanged smiles. Poor and rich alike wore the same glow of the season. The spirit towered cheerfully beside him. "Do you see?" he said. "Christmas belongs to all who honor it, not with money, but with love." Scrooge felt the truth settle heavily on him. This joy had always been around him, and he had never allowed himself to feel it. The spirit's torch flickered, sending sparks of warmth through the cold air. Wherever the flame shone, quarrels softened, laughter grew louder, and gloom lifted like fog from water. "What a blessing it gives," Scrooge murmured. The spirit smiled. "I give but one night, yet in this night I sprinkle goodwill on all who need it." He touched a group of weary workers with the tip of his glowing torch. A moment later, their tired faces softened, and they began to sing together. Scrooge was silent for a long moment. "Spirit, why do you show me this?" The spirit answered, "To teach you that kindness is the one wealth that grows only when shared." The world shifted again, and soon they stood before a tiny house in a humble part of London. The windows glowed faintly with candlelight. Inside, the air was full of warmth, though the fire in the grate was small and struggling. "This," the spirit said softly, "is the home of your clerk, Bob Cratchit." Scrooge felt his heart clench. Inside the cramped house was a flurry of activity. Bob Cratchit's wife, a thin woman with a patient face, was stirring a pot anxiously over the fire. The Cratchit children, 3 little girls and 2 older boys, ran back and forth, setting the table, fetching plates, laughing excitedly, though their clothes were patched and old. The spirit watched Scrooge carefully. "You think them poor," he said, "and they are, yet they carry a treasure you have long forgotten." "Joy?" Scrooge whispered. "Not just joy," the spirit replied. "Gratitude, togetherness, hope." The door opened suddenly, and Tiny Tim entered, carried on Bob Cratchit's shoulder. Scrooge's breath caught. Tim was small, frail, his limbs thin as twigs. He held a little crutch and wore an iron brace on one leg. But his face, oh, his face was radiant,
Wide with wonder, soft with innocence, glowing with a gentle courage that seemed to illuminate the room. "God bless us," the boy said softly. "Everyone." At the table, the family ate their small, humble feast as though it were a king's banquet. They laughed, thanked God, toasted one another, and held hands with love overflowing. Scrooge could not look away from Tiny Tim. His small cough, his thin frame, the extraordinary warmth in his eyes. "Spirit," Scrooge whispered shakily, "tell me, will Tiny Tim live?" The spirit's smile faded. "I see an empty seat in the corner," he said quietly. "A crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered, the child will die." Scrooge's heart twisted painfully. "No, no, kind spirit, say he will be spared." "If he is to be spared," the spirit replied, fixing Scrooge with gentle but piercing eyes, "then men like you must change." Scrooge turned away, tears blurring his vision. Next, the spirit took Scrooge to his nephew Fred's Christmas dinner. The room was full of warmth and laughter. Fred's wife and friends laughed until tears came over stories and games and jokes. When Fred spoke of Scrooge, it was not with anger, but with gentle pity. "I'll never give up on him," Fred said. "Hardened hearts need kindness most." The words hit Scrooge like a blow to the chest. Fred's friends played games, sang carols, and spoke with glowing affection. The entire time, Scrooge felt like an outsider, peering into a world he had denied himself for decades. When the games ended, Fred raised his glass. "To my uncle," he said. "I wish him happiness, whether he deserves it or not." Scrooge bowed his head, unable to speak. The night deepened. They drifted through the city again, and Scrooge saw joy, poverty, kindness, hunger, wealth beside destitution, all illuminated by the spirit's torch. But something had changed. The spirit was aging. His hair, once rich and brown, turned streaks of silver. Lines crept across his face. His robe dulled. His flame dimmed. Scrooge stared in shock. "Spirit, spirit, are spirits' lives so short?" "My life upon this earth ends tonight. It is the law." "But the night is not yet over."
the spirit gave him a tired smile. "It will be soon." Then, suddenly, from beneath the spirit's robe came the sound of faint movement. Two small forms clung to him, a boy and a girl, thin, starved, wild-eyed, their faces pale with desperation, their arms like sticks, their clothes in tatters. Scrooge recoiled. "Spirit," he whispered, "are they yours?" "They are man's," he replied solemnly. "This boy is ignorance. This girl is want. Beware them both, but beware the boy most, for ignorance is the root of all suffering." Scrooge shuddered violently. "Have they no refuge?" he cried. The spirit's voice echoed back at him, cold, sharp, a mirror of Scrooge's own past cruelty. "Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?" Scrooge collapsed to his knees. "Spirit! Spirit, please!" But when he looked up, the spirit was gone. The bells began to toll midnight, and rising from the darkness before him, a tall, silent, hooded figure drifted forward. The final ghost. The bell's final stroke echoed into the cold night, its vibration fading slowly like the last heartbeat of a dying hour. Scrooge lifted his head. In front of him stood a tall, silent, shadowy figure wrapped entirely in a cloak of black. The darkness around it did not simply cover, it absorbed light, as though the night itself obeyed this spirit. Its face was hidden, its form vague. Only one pale hand was visible, long and bony, pointing straight ahead as though commanding Scrooge to follow. Scrooge trembled violently. "Are you the ghost of Christmas yet to come?" The spirit said nothing. It only raised its arm and pointed into the swirling mist. Scrooge's voice shook. "Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any spirit I have seen. But since I must be a better man, lead on. I will go with you." The spirit drifted forward, and Scrooge followed, his heartbeat thundering in his ears. They found themselves in London's business district. Gray buildings loomed overhead, their windows reflecting a cold metallic sky. Men stood in small groups, talking with blunt laughter. A cold wind rattled through the street. As Scrooge passed each group, he listened closely. One man shrugged. "I don't know much about it. All I know is he's dead." Another snorted. "When did he die?" "I suppose last night." A third laughed. "Who cares? He wasn't exactly beloved." The others chuckled. "Likely to be a cheap funeral," someone added. "I'll only go if lunch is provided." More laughter. Scrooge stared at them, shocked. "Spirit," he whispered,
Who are they speaking of?" The spirit gave no answer. It only stretched its long, dreadful finger toward the men as though urging Scrooge to look deeper. He shuddered. The fog curled and twisted around them, transporting them suddenly to a dark, filthy neighborhood, a maze of narrow alleys and crumbling brick. Inside a ragged shop filled with rusted iron, old rags, and greasy piles of scrap, 3 people met secretly: an old charwoman, a laundress, and a grave robber. Each carried bundles. They laughed shamefully as they opened their stolen goods before the shopkeeper. "He's dead," the charwoman hissed. "So what difference does it make? He won't complain." They spread out their items: bed curtains, silverware, clothes stripped from a corpse, even the shirt meant for burial. Scrooge staggered back. "Spirit!" he cried. "This wretched scene! This man they rob! This man they mock! Show me anyone who feels sorrow for his death." The spirit turned slowly and pointed again.
No family nearby, no friend keeping vigil, no candle but a faint flicker that barely lit the cold chamber. Scrooge knew instantly what the spirit was showing him. "Before I draw back the sheet," he whispered through trembling lips, "tell me, is this man shown as a lesson, or is his death already sealed?" The spirit remained silent. Its dark hand pointed only at the corpse. Scrooge stepped forward, his body shaking. He could not bring himself to lift the sheet. He turned away, sobbing. "Spirit, I understand you. Let me see tenderness connected with death. Please, I cannot bear this loneliness." The spirit's form drifted, and the room disappeared. They stood once more outside the Cratchit home. But it was different now. Still warm, still filled with family, but quiet. Too quiet. A heaviness clung to the air like winter fog. Inside, Bob Cratchit entered slowly, his face pale and exhausted, his eyes swollen from weeping. His wife rose to meet him. "You went there again today, Robert." "Yes," he whispered. "I wish you could have seen how green it is, how beautiful the little spot. He loved it. We will visit often." A gentle sob came from one of the girls. Bob held her tenderly. "Don't cry. He is at peace now." Scrooge froze where he stood. He looked around frantically, counting the children. One was missing. Tiny Tim. Bob spoke softly, as though holding back tears with every word. I'm sure he would have wanted us to smile today." Mrs. Cratchit wiped her eyes. "Poor Tiny Tim. My little child." Scrooge cried out, unable to contain his grief. "No, Spirit, no! Not Tim! Please!" But the spirit offered no comfort, only silence, and its finger pointing forward. The fog thickened, swirling like a cold breath of death. The ground beneath Scrooge shifted to frozen soil. He knew where they were. A churchyard, silent, empty, snow falling on crooked stones. No birds, no wind, only the soft sound of death's unbroken quiet. The spirit pointed. They approached a neglected corner where weeds tangled around broken graves. Scrooge felt the weight of dread press into his chest. "Spirit," he whispered, "before I draw nearer to the stone you point at, answer me one thing. Are these the shadows of things that will be, or only of things that may be?" The spirit remained unmoving. Scrooge sank to his knees. "Men's lives may shape their ends. Assure me that I may yet change mine." The spirit did not reply. Its hand pointed downward, unshakable. Scrooge forced himself to look. Slowly, trembling, he brushed the snow from the gravestone. His breath stopped. His blood froze. The name carved on the stone glared up at him. Ebenezer Scrooge. Scrooge screamed, "No! Spirit, hear me! I am not the man I was. Why show me this if I am beyond hope?" The spirit's hand did not move. Scrooge crawled forward, sobbing, grasping at the long black robe. "Good spirit, your nature is of mercy. Assure me that I may change these shadows by an altered life." He clutched the spirit's hand, and suddenly the graveyard dissolved. The spirit's cloak folded into darkness, and everything began to spin. Scrooge clung to the spirit's dark robe, crying, pleading, trembling. But as his hands gripped the fabric, it began to shrink beneath his fingers. The folds dissolved like mist. The shadows collapsed inward as though devoured by a sudden burst of light. And in the next breath, Scrooge was falling, until he landed softly in his own bed, his own room, his own blankets, his own dim window glowing faintly with morning light. The bedposts stood firm, the walls unchanged, the candles still half melted on the bedside table. Scrooge blinked rapidly. Am I alive? Am I truly here? Oh, thank heaven. He stumbled out of bed and ran to the window, throwing it open with a shout of unrestrained joy. The air outside was crisp and fresh, filled with the magic of Christmas morning. The bells rang joyfully across the rooftops. Snow glistened on the streets. Children laughed below, their happy voices rising like music. Scrooge put both hands against the cold window frame, his face breaking into a smile so wide and bright that it seemed to thaw years of winter from his hardened heart. "It's Christmas Day!" he cried. "The spirits have done it all in one night. They can do anything they like, of course they can." He laughed, a real laugh, a warm, bubbling laugh he hadn't heard from his own throat since he was a boy. The sound startled him. It felt strange and wonderful, like sunlight breaking through clouds after a lifetime of storm. Still trembling with delight, Scrooge dressed quickly and hurried down the stairs. When he reached the street, he called out to a boy passing by. "Hello, you there. My fine fellow." The boy turned, eyes bright. "Me, sir?" "Yes, you," Scrooge answered, nearly dancing with excitement. "Do you know whether the prize turkey is still hanging in the butcher's window?" "The one as big as me?" "A remarkable boy," Scrooge exclaimed. "Yes, Exactly that one. It's hanging there right now. Go and buy it, Scrooge commanded, pressing money into the boy's hand, and bring the butcher here so he may deliver it. The boy stared, eyes wide. Right away, sir. Scrooge chuckled as the boy ran off. That turkey will feed the Cratchits for a week, and no one will ever know it came from me. He clapped his hands together and walked through the snowy streets with a feeling of lightness as though the world had been remade. He soon reached the home of his nephew Fred. Scrooge hesitated, nervous, hopeful, and then knocked. Fred opened the door. For a moment, both men stared. Then Scrooge spoke in a trembling voice.
Fred, will you let your uncle dine with you today? Fred's face lit up with genuine joy. Let you? Of course, Uncle. We'd be honored. Come in, come in. Scrooge entered, blushing like a schoolboy, feeling warmth spread through him. A warmth not from the fire, but from the welcome of family. They ate together, laughed together, spoke of old memories and new hopes. For the first time in years, Scrooge felt seen. He felt accepted. He felt alive. The next morning, the day after Christmas, Scrooge was in his office earlier than usual. He waited and waited. At nearly 9 o'clock, Bob Cratchit rushed in, breathless and apologetic. Mr. Scrooge, sir, I am very sorry. It was only that Christmas Day, my family, the celebration. Scrooge struck the desk with his ruler. Cratchit, he yelled. Bob froze. Then Scrooge's face softened into something unusual, a smile. I am not going to stand for this, Scrooge said. I am not going to tolerate workers arriving late, not without proper reason. Bob swallowed nervously. And, therefore, Scrooge continued, I am going to raise your salary. Bob stared, unable to speak. And I intend, he added warmly, to help your struggling family. We'll talk about it over breakfast, Bob. A Christmas breakfast. My treat. Bob thought Scrooge had gone mad. But as the days passed, he learned the truth. Scrooge had become the kindest, warmest, most generous man the old city had ever known. Scrooge kept his word. He became like a second father to Tiny Tim. The child survived. He grew strong and healthy, running in the streets with laughter ringing through the air. Laughter Scrooge felt in his bones every time he saw the boy smile. The city never again whispered the name Scrooge with bitterness. Instead, they spoke it with admiration. He carried Christmas in his heart all year long, every day, every hour, every breath. And it was said by all who knew him that no man ever kept Christmas better than Ebenezer Scrooge. May we all learn from his journey that forgiveness can melt the deepest cold, that kindness can heal the oldest wounds, and that no heart is ever too far gone to feel the warmth of Christmas again. God bless us
every one.
you.